What's up guys, today I'm going to be sharing my best tips for beginner Roblox traders, or really just traders in general. Before we start though, I want to make it clear that this video is mainly for people with under 100k value. I've personally never gone above 76k, so I don't want to pretend like I'm some high tier trading mastermind. These tips come from real experience, grinding trades in that lower range, and trust me, I've learned a lot through highs and lows, and from big profit to big errors. So let's get started. Part 1. Upgrading and downgrading, a brief summary. Upgrading is when you give multiple smaller items for one bigger one. A lot of beginners think that they have to overpay big just to upgrade, but don't do that even if it's commonly viewed as necessary. It's fine to overpay a little. I'd say around 5% is fine, 7% if you have to, but if you won't profit as much. But if you up that to like 10% or more just to have less items, you'll burn your value fast. Be patient. You want to be able to look at the profit you made from upgrading and say, yeah, that's good. When you downgrade, meaning you give one item and get 2, 3, or 4 smaller ones, don't be too greedy, but don't rip yourself off either. Aim to get relatively big overpays with good demand. By relatively big, I suggest around 8% for low demand, 10% for medium demand, and 12 to 15% for high demand. Just note this, if you ask for 2 items or good demand items, people will be less willing to give overpay. If you get 4 items or bad demand items, people will be willing to overpay more. Part 2. Rolimons value and how to tell if an item is dropping. Rolimons is a community-driven trading website that provides values and demands for certain items. It also shows a lot more, but it isn't really that important to the point I'm making, but you'll see the features as I go more into this video, as I'll use a lot of screenshots from the website. It is also just generally a very good website for traders, and it's not that hard to figure out. If you're a new trader, I highly suggest you check out their website and verify your account there to post trade ads. The values are not official, but the community follows them. If an item's wrap drops too low below its value, it'll usually get its value dropped. There's a pattern to it. Here's some examples. So let's take a 7k value item, and let's say it drops under 6k wrap. It usually will drop to 6k value. Now, if it's something like 5,900, they usually won't drop it, but if it's like 5,700, they'll usually drop it, something around there. And then here's another example. If a 30k value item drops under 28k wrap, it'll probably drop to 28k value. You can tell what the next value drop will be by looking at the wrap tier below it. So if you're holding on to an item that's barely above that line and is starting to sell low or badly, that's a sign it's probably going to drop. Here's a quick screenshot with most of the smaller range value tiers. Now it's different for wrap items. To tell if a wrap item is dropping, check if it's getting lower and lower wrap each sale. The way to see this is by going onto the item's profile on Rolimons and clicking on this sales tab over here, and you get this giant page with all the sales or recent sales. Make sure the item isn't selling under wrap, which means its best price is less than its recent average price. Also make sure the item isn't inflated, which means that it's recently been selling a lot higher than usual. Here are some examples of this. Items like this are sure to drop fast. Part 3. Projecteds and LPPs. Projected items are ones with fake high wrap because someone bought them at a crazy high price to inflate them. If a trade looks too good to be true, it's usually projected. You can tell if it's marked by this thing on Rolimons or if its graph looks like this. Always double check on Rolimons, always, no matter the item. I've personally fallen for this one twice. The second time was some slight projected, but the first time was horrible. Here's a little clip. So basically, I was trying to downgrade legit. I was spamming it out on downgrades on the Rolimons trade ads. I was going around Trade Hangout trying to find trades. And eventually, this guy sent me a trade. He wanted to give me gold visor for legit 1v1. And I'm like, okay, you know what? That's not the worst deal ever. And as soon as I countered it for this, he accepted right away. And I was like wondering, why did he accept this so fast? And I go to Rolimons, I check it, and I'm like, no! LPP means low price point, or something like that. I don't really know what the exact thing is, but it's just something like that. It's when someone sells an item for 1 Robux, or around like 10 Robux, or something really low to tank the wrap. Here are some examples of this. People who own these items that recently got LPP'd are usually aware of it and hold, but if you can get freshly LPP'd items for a good deal, then go for it. Part 4. Demand. So, in a nutshell, high demand items are easier to trade and keep their value longer. Low demand items are harder to move even if they're at the same value for high demand. Pretty much the only difference is how much people want them. And you should go for the items people want. A good way to tell if people want it is that if it sells a lot, which you can see on Rolimons. When I say avoid low demand, I'm only really referring to unvalued wrap items under 20k that never sell. In recent times, it seems like low demand is actually hyping up a lot and getting massive overpays, which I will personally stay away from talking about because I have no idea what's going on over there. Part 5. Avoiding scams. Now, most of these things I'm going to list here you probably know about, but I'm just going to go over it because I still see some people fall for stuff like this. Never trust people who want to trust trade. Send you links. Never click on any links from Roblox players. That's like rule 1. Or try to do a trade across a double trade. They usually have some weird trick up their sleeve. And double trade is the most common one you'll encounter, where they say that if you complete one trade with them, they'll give you more in the next one. Or they'll try to get you to give them stuff, and they'll give you what you want in another trade. Just use trade ads and trade hangout, be patient, and only trade through the real Roblox trading system. Anyways, that's it guys, short and to the point. If you found this helpful, drop a like and subscribe, and let me know what other trading topics you want me to cover. Have fun out there, don't fail trade, and stay sharp.